Tampa and Orlando. That'll be young Ethan.
Yeah, Brian, how are you?
Well, I'm doing all right, young Ethan. I call everybody young Ethan these days because I'm getting old.
That's all right. I'm right up there with you. In fact, I think you and I have a couple of friends in common, Jesse James Dupree and Jeff Worley from Jackal.
Absolutely. Yep, with Jesse and Mr. Billings, Mr. Greg Billings from the Tampa boy. Good singer and all that. But so how's everything in Orlando? I'm just down the street from you, as it were.
I'm actually currently in St. Pete, so I'm just a little north of you, but I do Orlando and both, so we're both covering all of Florida.
Oh, cool.
You like it better here than the cold northeast of where you grew up in Dunston?
Oh, just a little bit. What do you think? It was what it was, and of course it wasn't helped by all the factories, and you have the same in America. Those kind of places where literally to find any color anywhere is pretty difficult. It's just the way it is. The factories, the power stations, the power plant, and we were surrounded by that, and so was everybody else. So everybody shared this thing, and so music, and it was that's the only way that you could get out. If you were good at football, or you were good in music, that's what the old guys would say. That's the only way you're ever going to get out of here. Which was kind of sad, but that's the way it was then.
Well, you had a few chances to get out. Geordie started to make it big, and then Geordie 2 started to make it, and then a little band called ACDC came along, so I think it was something in your destiny.
Yeah, it was. That's what I try to put down in the book, that you never rest on your laurels, never think you've done anything, because there's always something going to come by and slap you down. But, the work that I put in to get up to join ACDC, it was like what you'd call an apprenticeship. You know what I mean? You get the highs and the lows, and you're learning your trade all the time. And, of course, when I went down to London, it's all in the book about the adventure I had just getting there and walking through that door. Where, I just walked through the door, and Malcolm came up to us with a bottle of Newcastle Brown Ale, which is the beer brewed up where I come from. And he said, "Yeah, you drink this, don't you?" And I thought, what a lovely gesture. Jesus, he hasn't even met us. And I just said, "Mate, I could absolutely kill this." And I did. I wasn't feeling so nervous because in my mind at the time I thought, well, they're not going to pick me. First of all, I'm too old. I'm 32. And, there'll be a million other guys coming along, professionals. But I thought, well, at least I'll sing a couple of songs with them and I'll be able to boast to the boys in Newcastle that I sang a couple of songs with this. I never thought beyond that. But as it says in the book, we started playing, and the boys started playing, and I started singing, and something happened. It was just, I'd never heard anything like it in my life. And I was with a good little band. But these boys, this was a different level. And I sang me heart out because I was enjoying it. It was just brilliant. And when we finished the first song, I remember I was just sitting there going, wow. And Mal said, "Do you know a whole lot of Rosie?" I went, "I do." and then he started that, and we played that. And it was magical, It was just one of the magical moments in your life. You're not going to forget, And it was a wonderful time. But I think what shocked them most was, as soon as we finished, I said, "Well, boys, I'd better get back to Newcastle. I've got to open the shop in the morning." And they were going, what do you mean? What, you're leaving? I said, "Yeah, I've got to. I've got to open the garage and all that." So They couldn't really understand it. And as I was walking out, the tour manager run down. He says, "You can't leave. You're not finished yet." I said, "I have to." I said, "I've got a gig tomorrow night."
You were walking out of the room with ACDC because you had a gig with another band.
Yeah, with Geordie too. I had a gig, and it was important to them guys and the club and the people that were bought the tickets. So, but he said, "Listen, I'll phone you on Monday," and he did. And he asked us to come down again, and we went down, and we did a few things together, and then I left, and nothing was said. So, the nice story is when Malcolm phoned me on Saturday and said, "Well," he said, "are you going to do this album with us?" And I said, I've just read in the newspaper that you have a singer, an Australian boy." And he said, nah, mate. He says, "You don't believe the media?" He said, no, do you want to come? And I said, "Well, could you ring me in 10 minutes so I know you're not kidding?" He said, "All right." So he rang us in 10 minutes, and he said, "Right, you coming or what?" I said, "All right, then I'll come." And it was the Bahamas. That's where we were going to go, the Bahamas. And, of course, I'd never been to the Bahamas before. And, it was, before I knew it, I was sitting in the back of the plane with the rest of the band smoking cigarettes like crazy and drinking beer. And we landed in the Bahamas. And I think it was 92 degrees. And all I had was 2 pairs of socks, a T-shirt and a pair of jeans, and a bomber jacket, and that was it. And in we went, and we never stopped. It was a blur doing Back in Black.
Well, I tell you what, huge fan of yours. What was more nerve-wracking for you, do you think? Because you were at one point a paratrooper. Was it more crazy jumping out of an airplane or going on stage with ACDC for the first time? I've written something about that. When I jumped out of the plane the first time, I'll never forget. I got up to the door and I looked, "Oh, God, that's a long way down." And it was just go. And I was gone. I was in Belgium in 1980 for the first gig with the ACDC. And they were pushing us up the side, the back of the stage. And there was the same doorway type thing. And it was the same. I went out there, without a parachute this time, and into this crowd of incredible people, with banners up saying "R.I.P. Bon," and right in the middle of it all, there was one big one, and it just said, "Welcome, Brian, and good luck." Oh, that's awesome. Hey, I appreciate all your time, Brian. You've got a lot of people that are waiting to talk to you, and I could sit here and talk to you forever.
Okay, Ethan, you take care, me bunny lad.
Thank you, sir. Have a great one.
Thanks, mate. Bye-bye.